Why is the strongest fighter in Bleach called Kenpachi? We know of the current Kenpachi, Zaraki, the previous ones, and even the first one, Unohana. But did you know of the story where the name originated from? What if I told you the name was based on the strongest Soul Reaper at one point? A being often referred to as the greatest Kenpachi, despite never being given the official title. This is something many fans don't know of, and it is often misunderstood, since it was from a Japanese-only light novel that hasn't been translated. Let's explore the light novel series, roughly translated into Clorox, The Legend of the Gumdrop, and discover the story behind the notorious Kenpachi. Despite what you may think, this very character is someone who Bleach fans have known for some time now. The greatest Kenpachi in fact died many years ago. Losing the greatest Kenpachi was a huge hit to the Soul Society. He was a man of honor, valor, and great abilities. Everyone loved him, especially the ladies. But he brushed them all aside, saying that only in death will he give into his lesser temptations. No one slew more wicked hollows, Shinigami, and Quincy than him, save the Soul King himself. And during the time when hell ran rampant, the greatest Kenpachi was the realm's greatest soldier. Through the myriad of feats, the moniker Demon Bane was bestowed upon him. That is how highly he was looked upon and feared by both comrades and enemies. The death of this being, which is still a mystery, affected many for the worse. And with endless war looming with the Hollows, Quincy's, outlaw Shinigamis, and hell still uncontrolled, the Soul Society started a slew of experiments to bring back deceased Soul Reapers. One method ended up working, and the greatest Kenpachi, along with many others, were the test subjects for a new method called Soul Resurrection. The greatest Kenpachi and other test subjects were brought back to life, but something went inherently wrong. The souls were not like how they were before. Many lost their personalities in the process. Many lost their memories, many lost their abilities, and some even lost all three of them. The greatest Kenpachi was the most notable one to lose all three attributes. Shortly after, these experiments were pulled and banned from the Soul Society. This was a time when Kisuke and Mayuri were not head of research and development, so errors like this were not out of the ordinary. The resurrected souls were ordered to be disposed of, hidden from history, and not another word was spoken about these experiments. The Kenpachi's comrades did everything they could to preserve his soul, and so they hid his soul in a device that sealed him until the day was right to bring him back. These devices would become very popular in the future, and they would later be used many years later for a new invention, modified souls. The failed experiment was a precursor to this technology. It was thought that all the souls from the first batch were wiped out, but it was only countless years later that Kisuke Urahara, by chance, would come across an antique mod soul from the first batch ever made. The greatest warrior's name in his prime was not Kenpachi, but Demon Bane Konpachi. It was only after his loss that the term would be coined as Kenpachi, because there never would be another Konpachi. While there can always be another Kenpachi, the Konpachi was etched in history as one man and one man only. It was in honor of him that the title of Kenpachi was given to the greatest fighter. Konpachi's story would continue with Kisuke Urahara, unknowingly passing on the mod soul to a Soul Reaper and thus releasing the greatest Kenpachi into the world once more. That said, it is hard to believe that the brilliant, calculated Kisuke would make such a mistake. Konpachi, who was a far cry from what he once was, is known to Bleach fans as Kon, the mod soul. Kon lost all his abilities, his memories, and even his charm with the ladies. He was doomed to a new life in which he had nothing, despite once having everything. A life where he was the opposite of what he once was. But despite that, the greatest warrior of his time would accompany the one who the world needed the most. Ichigo Kurosaki, the savior of the old world, accompanied the next in line to save the world, without ever knowing that he in a sense was reliving his past. It is through Kurosaki that Konpachi's will lives on, and countless times we will see Kon unknowingly saving the world through Ichigo. If you scour the internet, you can find pictures drawn to show Kon's true lineage, but we never will know his true form before he was experimented on and rendered into the sorry being he is today. Maybe one day Kon will regain his former strength, memory, abilities, and charm, or maybe he never will. But until that day, he remains by Ichigo's side, protecting him and the realms, however he can. In the future, he will have the incredibly dire task of protecting Ichigo's troublesome son, Kazui Kurosaki, the boy who could single-handedly bring upon calamities by releasing all the demons Kenpachi once put away. That is the legend of Demon Bane Kenpachi, the greatest Kenpachi.